Hi guys, I'm Ryan Houston and welcome to my fly tying channel. Your video is about to start shortly. Please take this opportunity to hit the like button down below, leave some comments, tell your friends. Interaction, likes, subscriptions help my channel to grow and help me to keep producing content for yourselves. If you're new to my channel, check out the other videos that I've got. There are over 500 videos at this stage, so there should be something there for everybody. Again, video is about to start. Hit that like button down below. Hi guys, so we're going to tie a salmon fly tonight. This is a Scandinavian pattern. I'm sure I'm not going to pronounce it correctly, but I think it's Stromso or Stromso. So this is a fly that's along the lines of so the willy gun kind of colours, although the colours that are chosen into are a little bit more banana-y and dirty maybe. So I have here a bit of 3.2 outer, so this is probably what, an inch and a quarter, inch and a half, but vary that as to the size of the fly that you're going to tie. And I've flared this end of it, so I'm using this tying thread. The head on is going to be black, so we're going to varnish this, but don't worry about that. I'm using this because it's sort of a strong 140 Dernier UTC. So for the rear of the fly I'm going to use a gold braid. Just going to tie that in, leaving a bit at the back here as our hook hold, or that you could even put you could put a junction tubing onto it if you want. Depends on the way you want to hook your flies up. So I've tied that in. I'm just going to flip it back on itself and tie over it, and that'll stop it from slipping out. So to give it a bit of weight, we're going to use a bit of lead. So a couple of options here. We can use shaped lead. This is adhesive lead, which I'd cut into like a diamond shape and put on the underside, or touch of lead wire, because we're going to have a dubbed front body here. So we could put on a few turns, 5 or 6 of lead wire, and then a bit of super glue into that and wrap over it and wrap back over it, and that'll hold that in place. So for the body we're going to use one of these sort of dirty olive kind of glister mixes. So this here has a bit of gold, a bit of olive, a bit of copper in it, and creates this dirty olive kind of dubbing. So once we started to twist it and it catches a little bit, we can then extend it and end up with a longer, thinner dubbing rope. And then dub the body with that. So we've come off the front of our lead wire, and that gives us that taper, not as much of a step for it to take the wing back over. So I'm then going to just brush that out a little bit, make it a little bit shaggier. Right, wing. So for the wing, what we're going to do is it's 3 or 4 layers in the wing. So firstly we want something to support the wing in orange, so you can use I suppose bucktail if you want it, but this is polar. So we take that and we want it to get back here and keep the wing away from the hook. So measure it for length, trim it up flat, set it in place. Now you notice I'm not going right to the front of my flare, and I'm holding it on the top of the shank. And then to make that secure, we can add either a little bit of super glue, but make sure it doesn't get into the wing, or we can use a little bit of varnish on it. Takes it a little bit longer to set, but we'll do just the same job, and tie over that. So the mid portion of the wing, what I'm going to use is like a dirty banana kind of colour. This is fox or fox tail. So if we take a bunch of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a lot of the underfur out, because it'll be less prone to tangling then. So if we get rid of all this and use a lot more of the yard hair than the just standard fox, and we're going to put that on and have it longer than the orange. So you generally want to extend out 25-50% or so, so that you're getting that tapered shape to our wing. So we'll set that on, measure it up for length, and then cut that ready to go on. Just stroke it back together again, trim that up neatly, set it up on top, same as the orange, and just bind it down. Again, a little bit of clear varnish into the root of it and bind that down. So you can see our orange wing is holding the yellowy banana-y type wing up. So this stage we're going to put on a hackle. So for the hackle, what we're looking is like a yellowy orange type hackle. So for this purpose I'm going to use, this is like a henny type hackle, or it's like a cock cape, just the edge of it, so we still have a little bit of spike to the wings. This is actually dyed in a sunburst, which is giving me like an off yellow, and it's interfering with the, there was a little bit of brown in the cape as well, so it's interfering with that to give me that sort of like orangey sort of hint in it as well. Double the hackle. I have a techniques video on that. If you want to see it, you can have a look for that. It'll explain doubling hackles in more detail. So we then start to wrap that on. And you can see we're leaving the room at the front here, which will be for our head, but also the black wing that goes on top of this. So right, so I'm going to put on 2 bunches of black for the wing. So what I want is sort of like a long taper on top, so I'm going to use a bit of black goat for that. I've got a bunch here, I don't need it all, so I'm going to pull out the longest fibres. The next fly I'll be able to use this bit, for this one I'll use this. So I'm going to take that bunch and I'm going to measure it up for length to where I want the total length of the fly to be, and trim it off. And then I'm going to swap it round and tie it in with the tails of those fibres pointing backwards, so it's sitting on top, because I'm going to fold this back over the top as the top wing. I now want a supporting black wing, so we can use some sort of black fur for that. In this case I'm going to use a bit of bear, but you could use whatever comes to hand. If you want, you could use fox, you could use Templedog, you could use whatever. So this is a bit stiffer, it's going to give us a bit of support to the wing, and I'm going to get rid of most of the under fur of this here. And then I'll end up with this wing. So if it's too blunt, what I can do is I can pull some of the fibres out to give me a bit more in the way of taper, and then trim that to length. That's going to sit in there on top of our banana coloured wing. And it'll give that kick and support. So for this one, because it doesn't compress that well, I am going to super glue an inch or so of my tying thread and tie that down with it, and then fold this one back and tie it in place. And as you can see, that now gives me a taper, that final length to the wing. And we'll just brush all that into it. So I'm going to use some substitute jungle cock for this. Use real jungle cock if you want. Take 2 of those. tie it in pointing forward, sort of on the sides a little bit of the hook. Swap it around and have the tips matching, therefore these are going to be the same length, and then flip it back and tie over it, and flip it back and tie over it, and then we have two matching eyes on the fly. And finally, to finish this off, what I want to do is use like a rainbowy type angel hair or Angelina hair, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to set that on, so I don't want it to be the full length of the wing. And then I'm going to flip this over and tie it in. So it's a little bit unusual in that it has the angel hair sitting on top of the wing. So now to finish the fly, I'm going to super glue a few inches of my thread, hold all back and wrap over that, and that will create our head. While that's still wet, I whip finish half hitch, sorry, whichever way you want to put it. And all we need to do now is to do the head with black varnish. So for this, there's a couple of fibres I can see there, so I'm just going to flash them. That'll get rid of them. And I'm using Sally Hansen Hard as Nails here. And what I've done is I have mixed that with Vineyard Black, because I think Vineyard Black is the purest black varnish I've ever come across. But the Sally Hansen's, whenever it gets a little bit tacky like this, a little bit thicker, gives you a very good head coverage. So I find that mixing the two together gives me the perfect black head finish. I'll just take that all around while it's still wet, and it'll create that sort of blob. And that is our Stromso tube fly tied. So hopefully you liked the video. If you did, give us a like, subscribe, leave some comments, tell all your friends, check out all the other videos on the channel. There's several hundred of them. And until next time, tight lines. Thanks for watching.